Bargaining is that collective bargaining, an introduction, approaches of collective bargaining, techniques of collective bargaining, strategies of collective bargaining, and tactics of collective bargaining, right? So did you see the things that is there? What is the concept? The ILO Workers Manual defines collective bargaining as negotiation about working conditions and terms of employment between an employer, a group of employers, and one or more employers' organizations on the one hand, and one or more employees' organization on the other, with a view to reach a mutual agreement, right? This is to reach a mutual agreement that is there. Now, what are the features of grievance? Now, first feature of grievance is that it is a group process, right? It is a group process. The second step is it is a process. Process means it comprises of predetermined steps. Negotiation is the most important part of collective bargaining because that is what we do when the two parties get together across the table and discuss. Now, we said there are two parties, not three parties, and therefore it is a bipartite process and not a tripartite process, right? It is a bipartite process. The other feature is that it is a continuous process, that is not a one-time process. It continuously takes place at the intervals between the employer and employee as when there is a need. It is a non-competitive process because in competition, you always have a winner and a loser, right? And it is an agreement, as we all know. Just hang on for a minute, please. Hang on for a minute. जो जिसको दिया उसे फायदा हो गया. Right, sorry, there's somebody at the gate. Right. What are the significance of collective bargaining? We find that the first significance of collective bargaining is that it increases the economic strength of parties, that is, the employer as well as the employee. It establishes uniform conditions of employment. It secures major and prompt redressal of grievances because you can get together and resolve the grievances which are there. It avoids interruption of work because if collective bargaining is to take place, there will be no interruption. They have got to resume work before they can meet. It lays down fair norms and conditions, working conditions which are there. It achieves an efficient operation of plant machinery, and it also promotes stability and prosperity of the industry which is there. The prerequisite of collective bargaining is that it has to be in proper environment. Proper environment is needed. You cannot have it anywhere on the street. you have to have peaceful uh, you know discussions and so on and so forth. Climatic situation is also very, very important. This is not to do with the natural climates. This is the industrial climate that we are finding. Uh, there has to be psychological considerations in it. Recognition of each other is also one of the prerequisites. It has to be done in proper setting, not under a banyan tree. We find that cooperative attitude of both the parties is a must. Issues that is being discussed has to be bona fide, and there has to be peaceful atmosphere for collective bargaining to take place. Now, there are 4 known approaches. That is the 4 categories of approach. I'll start with the last one first. It says take it or leave it approach. Take it or leave it approach is also called Bolverism by the scholars, because it was Bolver who proposed it. And this approach basically took its birth with the rise of socialism in the Eastern European countries, primarily in the erstwhile Soviet Union, where it was felt that it is the management, because management was also in the hands of the workers, a group of workers. And therefore, they felt that they are the real benefactors of the workers, and therefore they decided what is good for them. They decided the agenda. They called a meeting of the workers and declared that this is to be given, and there was only one option: either take it or leave it. But if you have gone through the concept of dialectical materialism that Karl Marx propounded, it says that it talks about thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. We find that the persons at the helm of the affair are normally antithesis. They are not in favor of a management. They become dictators. This died down with the fall of Soviet Union, and therefore this particular approach of collective bargaining, called take it or leave it, is no longer in vogue. The second from bottom is referred to as the basket approach, or package bargaining as it is known as. Now, basket approach or package approach is where the demands, charter of demand is divided into like items, and that like item put together is referred to as one basket. There will be more than one basket which will be formed of the like items. It will be discussed. They will take out one item at a time from the basket, discuss that in detail, arrive at a conclusion, tentative conclusion, before moving to the next item within the basket. And until all item of the basket is being discussed and agreed upon, they will not move to the next item. So basket is, each basket will be agreed to completely. And likewise, all baskets will be discussed one after the other, and agreement will be arrived at. This is one of the most popular approach of collective bargaining, the package approach. And we find that most organizations in anywhere in the world, including India, follow the collective bargaining process. If they follow, is through the basket approach only. The advantage of basket approach is that even if there is a deadlock in some of the basket, at least something has come out of the collective bargaining process, right? But disadvantage is that forming a basket is one of the most difficult things. And there is normally tall horse trading that takes place in this particular approach as well. Then there is an approach called total or holistic approach, Now, this total approach is where, say, there are 20 items of demand. They discuss one item at a time, arrive at a tentative conclusion before moving to the next item, right? And they keep discussing the items, and only once the final, item has been agreed to and discussed, no agreement will be considered as final. Now, this approach has the advantage that you do not go by a single item. It is taking holistic approach, but horse trading is very, very common, and it takes a very, very long time, and sometimes deadlock basically results in getting nothing. The first approach, which is called piecemeal approach, it is also relevant and prevalent in the industry, where one item of the total agenda is taken at a time, discuss that in detail, arrive at a final conclusion before moving on to the next item. Now, advantage is that deadlock is less, it takes less time, but disadvantage is that if items are alike, then the problem arises. What to do? If something has already been agreed to, are they going to compromise? So compromises becomes very, very common as far as the piecemeal approach is concerned. So these are 4 approaches of collective bargaining. Right? I'll continue with the bargaining techniques and other things tomorrow because it is time for you to join another class. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.